Casual Magic has been brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can get cool stuff. Use the code CASUAL for 5% off your order. We're also sponsored by Quiver Time, makers of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine card-holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their site for 10% off your purchase. And by Architect, a deck hosting website that doesn't sell anything, but they like me and I like them, so kindly use them for all your deck list needs. Now, on to the show. Hello, and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., Quiver, and Architect. I started to cough midway through my sponsor role. I don't know what I would have done. Today, I'm very excited to have with me a dear friend of mine, a fellow creator on the Ambassador program, and a dude who got to stomp us all with Aragorn in my second run on Shuffle Up and Play. My boy Kurohitsuki. Hello, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me, Shivam.
Yeah, I'm super excited because, I've been watching your career with great joy because you were such a happy and fun-loving, you hit the quadrants that I want to see content creators hit, which is we enjoy this and like doing this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Well, I mean, because there's so much negativity in space and it's just it's unnecessary. We're playing a game. We enjoy this game. Yes, dumb things happen, but we can have fun. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Exactly. Yes. Unnecessary is exactly how I put it, how I view it. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah. So I think you first popped into my radar last year, 2023 sometime, or 20, I don't know, 22, 23 something, because I started you were showing up in my Twitter sphere, and then me and the professor were having a conversation about Shuffle Up, and he was like, I want you and Wheeler to come on. And he's like, who should we have as your fourth? And then he told me, he's like, I don't want anybody who's been there before with you, or I want you to find some new blood or something. I'm like, how about first off, I threw out some dudes in Italy or Russia. I'm like, yeah. How big's your budget, professor? And he's like, not Italy big. And I'm like, fair. I was like, I want to play with Tim Willoughby or Mengucci or something. But then I was like, what about this dude I heard about from Buffalo named Kurohitsuki? And he's like, he was on my list too. And I was like, serendipity. And it was rad because it was so cool getting to meet you in Prof's home and hanging out that weekend. That weekend ruled.
It ruled. It was easily. I mean, I will remember it forever. I have the plane tickets taped up on my wall. It truly was just a magical experience, and I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah, I remember telling you, yo, you know what? Get your socials in order because you're about to get bombed once this goes live.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had Veggie Wagon on, and we talked about how you and him basically ended up sitting with me for 3 hours in the freezing cold, listening to Shivam's lecture time, and it was so
good.
ridiculous.
Listen, I tell people about the stories that from the Shivam stories, so listen, don't worry about it.
So I want to know, dude, how did I only find you just now? What are you doing? How did you find the game?
Well, just in general, I started playing in 2011, so back in high school for me.
What?
Yeah, 2011.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, 2011, I thought that was last year. It was 2021. I'm like, no, 21's not. 2011 is actually the same time that I came back. That's what, Innistrad-ish?
Right before Innistrad, the tail end of Zendikar block.
Okay, yeah, that's around the same time. Well, I think it was Scars block.
Right at the beginning of it / tail end. That's when I got into it at the tail end of Zendikar.
How'd you get into it?
I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And then because
we're not going to talk about the fact that you were in high school in 2011.
It's okay. We're glossing over that. Don't worry.
I was already married for 4 years by then.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was I played the game that had the show. What's up? Oh yeah. I had the game. I played the game that was based off the show that I watched and everything, and so I just kind of
Oh,
So
that's cool.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then like the show changed. It went like a different season, and they had mechanics that I didn't understand because I wasn't watching the show. So I'm like, you know what? I don't get Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. I don't know what XYZ summon is, so I'm out of here.
That's
And
funny as
then
hell.
yeah, so then my friends were getting into Magic, and I'm like, you know, let me look at it, right? And I go in there, little high
The
school
cards are
kid.
so big and the
They're
font is
they're
so
so
readable. I don't
big,
understand.
super legible. The way they described trample was just a mechanic versus having to take the entire card to
Okay,
explain
we need to
trample.
stop for 10 seconds and talk
Yeah,
about the biggest garbage pile that Yu-Gi-Oh is. Like, are you kidding me?
every single card is its
Is
own
an essay?
ability.
Yeah,
Oh gosh, yeah. I
dude,
didn't
like
like that.
I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, and this is my age. I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh
Mhm.
first came out, and it was like awesome because the first season of the manga and the first season of the show and stuff were like Yugi is going and playing a whole bunch of different games, and he's a game
Right.
master, and it's really cool, and we're going to explore it. And then he was like, "Hey, what if we just made cards and sold them like forever?" And then suddenly it just Yugi plays
Yeah.
cards all the time, and I'm like,
Forever.
What happened to the Egypt puzzle thing? Not
Until
GG.
Dungeon Dice Monsters. For a little bit.
Yeah,
For a little
but
bit.
and then Konami was like, "What if we just made Yu-Gi-Oh cards for the rest of our time?" And I'm like, "Fair,
Yeah.
fair, can't
Hey,
fault
fair.
you,
They're
I guess."
making money from it. Yeah. But yeah, just being a high school kid, there were it was the intro deck that had, back when they had intro
I
decks,
remember those.
Captivating Vampire on the front. That was like my plug. I'm like, oh wait, like vampires are a thing. I could just have like a deck full of vampires and do vampire stuff, and like that'll be fine. It's like, yeah,
And in Zendikar
I
era,
was
they
in.
were real good too.
Yes, yeah, it was the first time in like a long time that they were like a full on like
Unit,
typal versus just like the one off
right?
Barons and gear or
I
something.
mean,
So
we had one of the best vampires of all time in freaking Vampire Nighthawk.
yes, yeah, right.
God
Like it
King right
was,
there. I mean,
yeah. So I was in, and then Soren, of course,
right.
was like, come on, how do I not?
Yep.
Yeah, Soren and Jace, because I was nerdy high schooler, so of course Jace with his hood and mental powers. How could I not? How could I not be attracted
You know,
to it?
we were all young once. I will allow
Yes, yes. Well, just the once. But what really like truly cemented my love for the game was the Scars block. It was the lore
it.
present in the Scars block, the weekly stories that came out that just kind of like told the whole lore,
Yeah.
and the art and the flavor text and the watermarks especially. Like I will stand by watermarks are my favorite thing in Magic. Every time they actually implement them, I am in love.
You know,
Um,
it's. I think that's one of my favorite things is finding out the little things that people just
yeah.
love about Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all like, "Oh yeah, I love creatures and I love this card." So no, it's like when people are like, "Yeah, I love the watermarks," or
Yeah.
like for me, honestly, like the thing that always gets people is like, for me, that Deckmaster logo on the bottom
Mm-hmm.
is like my hill
Yeah.
to die on. If
That's
that
your
is
hill to die on.
if that is not at the
Yeah.
bottom of the card, if they
Mm-hmm.
like when Arena came out and they put out their the Magic back that they dreamed of, which is like yellow logo, no Deckmaster, I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
out. Screw this crap.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to go on a mini rant for a second. So you
Uh-huh.
are going to be the recipient of this. So everybody, look at the back of this Magic card. For those of you at home who have never seen a Magic card, congratulations for listening to the 205th episode of a podcast about Magic: The Gathering. You are going to learn a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
So Magic, the original back of this Magic card is this dark blue, brown leather color with this embossed blue Magic logo on the top, and then this Deckmaster logo down at the bottom. And then, of course, the 5 jewels represent the 5 colors, which, obviously shards, allies, et cetera, right? So we all know what the back of a Magic card looks like. However, did you know that when you look at this Magic card back, the original intention of a Magic card was meant to be the cover of a wizard's spellbook? Right? That's why it's got the big circle there. That's why there are the 4 dots around in the corner, the 4 red dots, to represent kind of that old timey, magical jewels on the cover of this fancy, very hefty spell book. In fact, if you ever look at it, and you're going to wait 1 second right here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I happen to have on hand a revised deck box. So
Yeah,
if
look
you've
at
ever
it.
seen a deck box from Alpha Beta Revised, one of
Mhm.
the things you'll notice is that at the top of this deck box. So first off, this deck box is this tan
Oh,
color.
I see.
It's got the cover with the magic logo, but then when you look at the top, it's got this lighter yellow beigeish color, and at the bottom, it's got that same lighter yellow beigeish color. And you'll notice there's a red thing in the corner representing the ribbon that is the bookmark in your
The
spell
bookmark,
book.
yep. Mhm.
So for me, when you look at this Deckmaster logo and you look at this revised box of cards, the Deckmaster logo, which is down at the bottom, it's this blue, kind of dark blue stamp there with this mystical text on it. And what it is if you've ever seen like fantasy depiction of spellbooks, they've got the metal bands that go across the top. The logo
Mhm.
is the first metal band, and the Deckmaster is the second metal band down at the bottom. It gives symmetry to the book cover. It gives a way for the thing to look. And then everybody likes to bitch about, oh, look, there's a stray pen mark in the Deckmaster logo. You are, first off, wrong. That is not a
Mhm.
stray deck mark. What was done was they took the frame from the original blue cards, the original blue frame of the old frames. If you match them up on the back of the card and everything, you will see that the way the watery waviness is, they just sliced
Mhm.
a piece of that off to turn into the Deckmaster logo. So the reason it looks like there's this pen mark going through the M there,
Deckmaster
or
logo.
like down at the back going through the T, that's actually just part of the wavy part of the blue bubbles from the original blue frame of the card. However,
Yeah.
when you look at it in the context of the being the lid of a book, of a spell book, it is the flash of light going across the front, the way when you see like old timey movie logos from the 80s and 70s and stuff, where it's like,
Yep.
you see like innovation and then you see the
Yeah, yeah.
lightning go through. That
Yeah.
T right there is the lightning mark going through the back of the book cover,
Yep.
because it's meant to be the glint of light as you're opening this textbook with all of your monsters and spells from across the multiverse that you're about to summon in this duel. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Sorry, you didn't.
Yeah.
You
No, you're
you
good.
are the unlucky recipient of one of my soapboxes. But dude, yeah, like I love me some watermarks too.
Hey, listen, my soapbox is that the Scars of Mirrodin was a fantastic invasion war story, complemented by the fact that the watermark started as an 80-20 Mirren Phyrexian
Right,
split to 50-50 to then 90-10 to
right.
show
Wasn't
that the
that so
Mirrens had
cool?
truly lost.
I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
listen, I get you.
Dude, I think they did such like that was the first real attempt of environmental storytelling through not
Mhm.
just the cards, but like the physical cards.
Yeah.
And like it was so sick, especially like when they made you like people think of it gimmicky now. It's like, ooh, who's gonna win? The Mirrors of the Fractions? Like that was hot, man. That really, really
Yeah.
cool.
That was listen, my favorite there is multiple like gamer accounts I have where the Dark Steel Platinum Angel concept image that they had for Mirrodin Pure is that cover image. It's still like my favorite like art that doesn't exist in Magic, and I am mad. I
Right?
own the pristine talisman that has like the
Oh god.
Mirren symbol. Yeah, I tracked
It's
that
so
down. I
cool.
am like I'm about it. Like I get you, and I will always be mad that Mirrodin Pure is not real.
Look, as a perennial paladin, I am super grumpy that Phyrexians won and then won
Yeah,
again and then
yeah,
ground it into dust. And
yeah.
now Mirrodin is not even a thing anymore.
Just flipped out.
It's
Yeah,
literally just Zalfir.
yeah.
I don't know what I feel about that. I don't know what I feel about Zalfir being the new Mirrodin.
Zalfir, listen, Zalfir has
Zal,
5 sons. All right, that's all I know is that Zalfir has 5 sons, and that's not how planes are supposed to work. But anyway,
you know,
yeah.
but hey, I don't know what's going on with that, and I hope that someday they explain to us. I like the Omen Path, though. I think the Omen Path's a really
The
cool
Omen
idea.
Pass is cool. I'm glad that they're not like big, giant, like world tree portals that people are just wandering through en masse. It seems to really just be like 1 or 2 characters per set so far. So
It,
that's cool.
I think there were like some of them are going to be just like this is a random mystical portal deep in the woods that you just stumble into,
Mhm.
and some of them are like these are fixed points that these civilizations know about, and that they can just kind of hop through and go around in.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I am. Yeah,
yeah, so like if one showed up on like Kamigawa or something, I would expect that those
which I'm
guys
sure
would
they
have
would.
like ticketed entry and type of thing, like please
Right,
take
right.
the carriage into the portal.
Right, yeah. I do expect at some point, like, as they introduce more and more characters, like the Bat God Aclazotz, didn't necessarily have much of an ending in Lost Caverns, but it's like, maybe they'll end up on Innistrad and see like what they do with the vampires there, sort of thing.
I will say it's a little weird to read that intro story to Innistrad, or rather Murders at Markov or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, by the way, Kellen is here incidentally. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this homie just like on like where's wallowing through the planeswalk?
It looks like it. I mean, he gets a new form every time, and
his girlfriend go?
He does the one thing that I wish all planeswalkers did, but Kaya especially does. They drip. They dress in the drip of the plane, which is what they should have done. It's like only Gideon ever did that, and it's just like,
yeah, but Gideon,
Jace,
when
get
he
out of
did
your
that,
bathrobes.
Gideon looked real stupid in his Amonkhet clothes, so
It wasn't great.
it was not.
It wasn't great.
But
But
he tried. My brother tried.
He tried, which is better than what Jace did. Jace never changed out of his pajamas, okay? And that's I'll take little weird looking.
I think Kellen Kellen looks weird in LCI, but he looks super cool in like WoW and in the premium the new preview image we saw in Markov.
Yeah. He looks stripped out.
Yeah, but I mean, like I think he's a cool character. Not gonna lie, I like him. I think better than like the Teo, who got just a gimp story and just like nobody.
Yeah. When we go to Teo's plane, I'll be excited for that, but I don't.
Yeah, but also his powers are
otherwise.
I make shields. Okay.
I like shields, but that's because
sure, fine. I mean, that's
I'm a Azorius boy at heart. So
look, I turned sideways. So like, Kellen looks like he's jumping through the world in Naya, and I'm here for that. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't know. It seems really.
No, he looks blue-white in this one.
Yeah, I guess
his vest is blue.
I guess he's core white, and then he just kind of hops around and does.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he was probably working with the Azorius to investigate or whatever. Who knows?
He's working with that new investigator guy. Yeah, Frost or whatever.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't. Kellen, I feel is like, look, man, I'm just trying to get home, quantum leaping my way around and seeing what happens.
He doesn't seem to be wanting to get home.
No, he doesn't seem to want to go home at all.
He is just, I'm exploring.
Yeah, he's just like, yo, you know what? There's an opening. I got to go. Peace. It's like,
okay, later.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This year has been so wild for story. I'm glad that they're resetting it and kind of giving us back to what it feels fun to be just traveling. And like, there's not a world ending thing. There's just localized problems. We solve them. We move to the next one.
Right.
But we were talking about you, not about me and my rants and stories.
Well, we have at least a similar love for just like those weird little niche
minutia,
things.
Man. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think Magic cards are awesome because they give everybody something to hang on to.
Yeah.
Like there's always something.
Some things for us to obsess over.
Right. Like, and
I'm still mad that not every card in Zendikar the second last time we went wasn't an ally, because it's just like, why would you be?
My God. It was also really, really annoying because you would be looking at two cards on the table and be like, which one is the ally?
Yeah, and it turns out the ones that weren't allies were all the
party.
The only one. Not the before party. Yeah,
that sucked too.
The ones that were non-allies were like all the core that like had kite sails who would just fly away. They're just like, Zendikar's screwed. I'm just gonna fly away. Like one of the flavor sects is literally just like, I'm
out, baby.
It's just like so silly. It's just so silly. Everyone should just be an ally. Like that's one of those things where it's just like, okay, they didn't have a watermark, even though they kind of could. But the
whole point, it's Zendikar. It's allies. Right. We're working together.
You can't not. This is almost more like two-sided than like the Vermeer and Phyrexian War. You can't.
There's no fence sitting here.
It's like, yes, it's existence or literal non-existence. There's no in between.
You are either fighting against them or you are being erased from the entirety of ever. And it's like,
yes,
this like, I feel like this one is not a nuanced battle here. There's like,
it's not. It's not.
It's rather clear what the two sides are doing.
And then they're just like not an ally. They're just like, I'm just like a Chorus Scout or whatever. I don't really like identify with like the whole Zendikari cause. Maybe
like,
the Eldrazi are onto something. It's like,
we got to talk to both sides here. It's like,
right? Both sides I've done wrong.
Like, look, man, like all you weird leftist allies over there are just pushing me over into the arms of the Eldrazi. Right. I can't be held accountable for your entire dissolution into act. Like, wait, what? Whoa, hang on.
Whoa. They don't prefer the term otherworldly beings, okay?
When does Zendikar get woke, man? I don't know what's happening.
Oh my gosh, I can't. It's just like that's the stuff that gets me. Like, and I'm still mad. Like, I'm still mad. I'm still mad over Mirror Than Pure. I'm still mad over like 3 cards
Battle
not
for
having
Zendikar.
Like it's these little things that I'm mad over, but like but like when it does hit right, like Khan's block, all watermarks. Nothing without it. The way Khan's intended, the way Ugin intended.
I mean, I love Khan's block. I'm not gonna lie.
It's my best standard in at least like I played, but I think it was the convergence point in my opinion for when Magic players knew what was going on with the story. Like even if they weren't really into it, everyone knew what was going on.
I think the most pinnacle of that, the convergence point of where we all were into the game, into the combat, and into the story, was at literal Pro Tour, not Shadows over Innistrad, but the one after that, Eldritch Moon. Pro Tour Eldritch Moon was literally like Liliana versus like Emrakul. It was like the exact story finale in the finals of the Pro Tour, and I was like, "There's never going to be a moment where this is the exact like replica of the story." Like on one side, Aetherworks, Marvel, and Emrakul. On the other side, a bunch of black zombies coming at you. I'm like, "Let's go, baby!"
So good. I loved that zombie deck too. That was so fun.
So good. Oh my god. So, what did you do? Did you find like when you started playing the game? Like, did you find yourself playing? Like, did you find Commander? Did you find Standard? What were you doing? 2011.
Yeah. So in 2011. So after just salivating over just everything Scars of Mirrodin, I was literally opening packs and just giving away cards that had the Phyrexian watermark and trading for Mirrodin watermark ones. I did not care. I gave away so many. I'm pretty sure I saw a Shieldred at some point. Didn't care. Give me that those 3 Mirrodin watermark cards.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just too in it. But it was in RTR is when I was in college. I was the founder and president of the Anime Gaming Guild because of course.
Look, dude, I'm not going to hold it against you. I created the anime club in my high school, and then I met my wife at the anime club in my college when she was the president. So
perfect.
I'm just saying,
yeah, you get it.
We brought stick.
So there was all the clubs have to kind of have teach people stuff or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, let's teach people Magic. Let's make 10 different decks of all the guilds, right? We'll just here's the guild leader. It was still a 60 card deck. I had no idea what Commander was.
Sure.
Not even close to knowing what it was. I haven't even stepped foot in the store really at that point. Not like a permanent one. So I found an LGS. I got some product from them, and then I ended up going back to that LGS over and over and over again, and then eventually I worked there, and then here we are, many years later. But it's
I'm not just a president; I'm also a client.
Yeah, but I started in RTR block, and then I did Standard around Theros. I certainly learned my hatred for green. Trying to in the RTR.
Hey.
Yeah. No, it's too strong. Thragtusk? Okay, as a new player,
look, Thragtusk he just wants to love you.
Thragtusk was the most unfun card as a new player to get into Standard with. It was utterly unfun.
It's a pretty miserable card. I'm not going to pretend it's not. Thraggy and
oh my
Siege
God.
Rhino, not the funnest cards in the universe.
So, luckily, thank goodness those two were separate standards.
Yeah, right.
Because oh my God.
But they fit the same questing beast slot of just big green punch yous.
Yeah, but but like Cons was cool though. I still talk about the perfect Abzan curve. I've never seen a deck with a better curve than Abzan in standard. Like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2
God,
Fleece Mane Lion, turn 3 Anafenza, turn 4 Siege Rhino, turn 5 Ringmate Rock.
God, I want everything about that. It's so good. I
It's
love
so
every
good.
card
I
in
miss
there.
it so much. In the Pro Tour where they swung a Jace and they're just like, okay, whatever, and then it's just like trigger Raid Wingmate Rock, and you're just like, ah! It was great,
dude. And then Whip of Erebos to bring it all back.
Yes.
Let's go.
Oh my god!
Oh
Whip
god,
of
I love, dude. You know what? I know a lot of people dog on the Theros Con standard, but
they're
like
wrong. They're
because
wrong.
it was
It's
like
the perfect standard.
all the decks were like 3-4 color super or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care, man. Those decks were rad.
You had
Hornet
Tri-lands and Fetch lands. Who cares? Like
Hornet
it was perfect.
Queen.
Yeah. Did you like any of the cons in there? Okay, go ahead and build a deck with them. Like that's
They're
what
all
standard. Good. That's what standard should be, especially when there's factions. Five different factional decks were playable. In one way, shape, or form. They were playable. That is perfection. You shouldn't want anything else.
Theros Con standard was literally the pinnacle of, like, the limited sets were the best, among the best ever made. The standard was like perfectly balanced and super fun. Everybody was, I mean, that's like Magic was at its, I mean, I hate to say it, like, I don't want to be like, oh, get off my lawn, because like Magic's grown every year, blah, blah, blah. But Magic was the most deeply engaged at that moment in time. Like it was just, the world was their oyster. It was ruling the world. I mean, it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah. And a large part of it, you know, like, because every part of design was hitting, right? It's like good gameplay mechanics and all that stuff and like engaging, but like also everyone knew what was going on in the story.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, okay, what's going on with Fate? Oh, like, the block structure is changing. That we're gonna have, like, you know, we're gonna go to 2-set blocks, so we're gonna have to do this weird thing where like Fate Reforged is a smaller set, and it's like, dude, okay, that's kind of weird.
The way they
Why
did
is
that with A and B and then B and
C.
So good.
And like, I made a tweet about this just recently. It's just like, what Ravnica needs as a setting is to do a Fate Reforged. Don't change anything. I'm not saying change anything, but like go back in the past and show us what the guilds were like right after the founding of the guild pact, like originally, right? Because it's going back and seeing that for Fate Reforged was just like we just saw cons and we know what happens and what things were, and it was kind of sick. It was kind of baller. Okay, cool. And then you go to Fate and you're just like, dragons are like, okay, I see like why they did what they did to the dragons, because oh my god, like it is not a good time, but like this is the foundations of the Abzan and all that stuff, Dagatar and oh my goodness,
God, I loved it.
Tassiger.
Dude, you know what? I'm going to say this right now. Dagatar is a way better card than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
People dunk on that guy all the time, and I'm like, dude, like, he won me a whole lot of games in that format.
Yeah.
And that moving them tokens around is real powerful.
It's really, and like if there was ever like, you know, like reprinting of Legends, kind of like what they did for like the Dominaria Legends, where they, you know, just like older cards kind of like retold. Oh my gosh, they could just reprint Dagatar and just make his ability like 2 less. It'll just be fun and playable. But
that card is great.
But like, and then like the changeover to like Dragons of Tarkir, like, oh my gosh, like just a perfect, succinct storytelling device. Everyone knows what's happening. It's just like, oh, what's a Dramoka's command? Well, Sarkhan went to the past, did some timey-wimey stuff, and now dragons are back. It's like, I don't really like the lore, but like, okay, I get that. So like, Dramoka's here, and there's like a command, and then there's a Kolaghan's command, and all these cool commands. After having the charms of the Khanates, right? It's like Khanate charms into dragon commands, and it's just like perfect. No,
so good.
Perfect. And then
the ascendancies were also awesome.
The concept of ascendancies, like we're talking, like just shockingly enough, I love faction sets They're my favorite, typically because they come with watermarks. And it's like ascendancies, the concept of just like, this is a 3-color card that represents everything in one way, shape, or form. An enchantment, like that is this whole thing, right? That we're trying to tell. And it's just like, I get it. Jeskai command? Or a Jeskai ascendancy? I get it. I get what the Jeskai are about, just right then and there. Okay?
I was playing the Khan's Flashback, and I drafted Jeskai ascendancy, pack one, pick one, and built around it. Turns out, even in limited, that card is
out
bananagrams.
Bananas.
It is
and then
so stupid.
And then the draft format was Khan's Fate Dragons.
No.
No, sorry. It was Khan's Fate, and then
Fate Dragons.
That's right. Yeah. But okay, if we're talking about like vertical integration, even the draft format
was so
related to the story. It was
perfect.
Normally it's like, oh, you get all 3, you do 1, 1, and 1 for your draft for the blocks because they were 3-set blocks. It's just like, no. Things are changing. Now we're going to 2-set. Here's our perfect example of how we represent that.
It killed me so much because there was like, that was the perfect 3-set block they've ever done. And of course that was the last one.
Yes.
I was so mad. I was like, you guys killed it. Give me.
They peaked.
And then we went into Origins though, which was hot. Origins was one of my favorite sets ever.
Yeah, Origins was sweet.
The Elves deck was so good, and then
we're still hoping that they do an Origins 2 with like that was the original way to get Planeswalkers as creatures, right? Like that was the original way of like, how do we kind of represent Jace as a creature that goes to a Planeswalker, and that was fine. We all wanted more Origins of Planeswalker. I want to see Sorin as like
I want a
guy or something
Kiora so badly.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like maybe a Kiora that like did more.
Look, dude. Like she just needed to be a big fish lady, and I'm just down with that.
Yeah,
like she stole a thing. And her stories are fun, and she's a real beezy, and just makes big fish. And I'm like, you know what, girl, I'm here for it.
Go off, queen.
Go right? Off. Like, let's go. Bring some Kraken. Let's go.
And we were all sad when Lorthos died because it's like represented on like a cool usable card.
I was so annoyed. Lorthos is so cool, and he was just like, nope.
It just gets ripped in half.
We're having takoyaki now, baby. That's what's gonna happen.
Magic Story was so good, and I'm not saying that it's not good now, but in terms of just
they were killing it then.
They were killing it.
There's that span of time between Origins and Ixalan original, which was just peak Magic Story, right? Like peak Magic Story.
Yeah.
And anyways.
Yeah.
So would you say you're a Vorthos?
I would say I'm a little bit Vorthos tinted, no, most definitely. So in terms of just like my kind of Korean Magic, it's just like, so then eventually I got into Commander during like RTR block, or that block, especially Dragon's Maze specifically, that set.
Dragon's Maze did a lot. It was like a garbage set for everything except for Commander.
Got perfect for Commander, and I still appreciate it for being a very good example set of how you can, like, you 5 guilds here, 5 guilds here, and then like the smattering capstone to like improve all, just give everything like a little bit more of a push.
Yes.
I miss it, but especially the Commanders for sure. So like my original deck, like my first Commander deck, Teysa Envoy of Ghosts, I still have it, like, to this day. It's still so near and dear to my heart. That art and that card in general just, like, represents so much of what Magic means to me. And then my second deck is Asperia, which is also just like, what my iconic pet deck is, right?
Tajik from Dragon's Maze.
Yeah,
of course, because like everybody's like, this card's garbage. I'm like, no, you don't understand. He hits you for 7, and then you die. It's great. Right. I love it. Like, what do you want me to do?
And then you board wipe, and Tajik is still there.
You know what, man? The army's got to come back. Homie's got a mission to do, and you're just in the way. So we're gonna do this. God, I love flavor building. I love building decks based on themes, on ideas, on everybody's like, oh, why are you using the less good version of this? I'm like, because this is the one that's on theme, buddy. This is like, I'm not going to just put good stuff cards in my deck because that's not what you're here for. This has got to have a point. Like,
yeah. And everybody, like, no shame, like, or shade at
No, of
anyone
course,
for
do
how
what
they
you gotta
build
do.
their commander
This is
decks.
how I want to do,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah,
need you to do it.
absolutely. Yeah. I want, this is my Asperia deck. This is where Asperia would want to be. She says that you draw cards, or I draw cards when you attack me or planeswalkers. Well, guess what? This is one of the first, like, 5 cards in existence that have planeswalker on the text box. This is my blue-white planeswalker deck.
Oh god,
Swing at my
I hate
planeswalkers.
everything about all 5 words in that sentence. Just make me unhappy.
Swing at my planeswalkers. I'm gonna draw cards, and all of my interaction is combat tricks.
God, I hate
because
this.
the goal is that I draw, like, I top deck the perfect card that I needed, and that's your fault for swinging at me, fool. And
So
then I
you built
end
a
combat.
Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
Yeah. You've triggered my trap card. I will draw 4 cards because you're attacking me with 4. I will now end the combat step, and you can't cast spells for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, and we're gonna get the heart of the cards right here, buddy. This is just...
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love top decking. I love top decking. There's so few tutors. Like, I have 49 commander decks because I cannot stop, and I love too many of these characters. The amount of tutors in them is way less than the amount of cards I have.
Look,
amount of decks I have.
The way I like to think about it is, I'm playing a 100 card singleton deck. Mm-hmm. My goal is to see as many of those cards as I possibly can. Putting tutors in means I'm going to find, like, the 2 cards that are good and play those all the time. Like, I can do that in standard or modern or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to, like, I'm already mad that they're limiting me to 100, let alone, like, okay, fine. If I'm going to use 100, I'm not just going to try to grab the best 2. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I put these cards in here to play them, man.
Right. I want to see what my deck is going to get me off the top. What do we got today, Aminatu? What's that top deck doing?
Aminatu is more like, let me take your deck.
No, yeah. Well, yeah. I think I've only activated her ultimate like twice.
Yeah, but every time you do, you're like, oh, this is bad, dude. I remember I played, like, early on in Pandemic. Friend, we were playing over Spell Table early, and or not even. It was pre-Spell Table. We were playing over, like, webcam, and someone was like, I want to play my Aminatu deck, and we're like, that's maybe not a good idea. And then he's like, all right, I ultimate. I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't. no, you don't. Actually,
you don't actually. Like, no, we're not handing my. We're not. There's no infinite tokens is going to cover our entire.
Right?
board.
Yeah, those don't exist. You're years too early.
Like, bro, this is not how this works. Stuff.
Yeah. No, I always warned everyone, I promise, I'm not going to ultimate her no matter what, the situation is.
We realized the best way to ultimate her is literally to just pick up your chairs and move to the next person's table.
Instead of trying, makes way more sense.
If you're playing in paper in person, instead of trying to shift the whole board, just shift your body.
Yeah. Or just move the decks over.
Or kill that chick before she gets there.
Or just have a binding vow that you just won't ultimate her because don't be weird. Like, just don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's, like, chill, man, chill.
Daddy, chill. Right?
It's like, let's relax here. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy about you is that you are a generation removed from me, and you're deep in this, like, youthful kind of new. We've got this, like, era of old-timey content creators, and then, like, mid-timey content creators, and then new-timey content creators, and you're part of, in my mind, in that newer crop of people who's kind of sprung up, like, because I didn't discover you until, like, pandemic after pandemic-ish. So,
that's fair.
I know you've been around for a while, but in the surface, and, like, because the way you approach the game and the way you vibe with the game fits so much more into this new style of integrating story and culture and character and ourselves into this game, instead of the old way of, like, we're doing strategy, we're doing hardcore, like, thought and planning and, winning with whatever the card says, doesn't matter what's on the top card. So it's like, I just enjoy the energy you bring, because I think it's super fun to watch you interact with people and to jam and not gonna lie, as an old man in Magic, for a long time the melanated were like 5 of us. Right.
Yeah.
So it fills me with great joy to see a whole crop of young dudes of color and young ladies of color and young trans of color showing up and actually playing and being there and being us. And that's the sort of thing that I just celebrate and I love that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it doesn't matter. We're just here to play the same card game. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. And hey, listen, when you brought that up the first time back at Minneapolis, it was you, me, Kira.
Oh God, remember that?
God,
And
I always
like, oh,
forget.
who was that dude? There
I always forget the fourth. I want to.
was somebody we hadn't met before.
Oh, Base Messiah, I
Yeah.
believe. Yes, yes. Yeah, Base Messiah X. And it was us four, and you mentioned that you're like, this is the most melanated pod you've played it in years. And I'm just like, it was honestly that simple. It doesn't like it just happened. We didn't do
Yeah,
it
we were just hanging out
because it
and
was
playing.
yeah. Yeah, it was just like, Shivam, do you want to play? And you broke your like, I don't really play at cons kind of like rule
I
for it, and
owed
then
Kira a game. I
yeah,
had
yeah. Hey,
promised her.
Kira came over, and it just worked. It just worked out. And
It was just one of those things where it's like, I noticed this because I know what it's not been. Right?
right,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
noticed
yeah,
this because like this is a world that I didn't have. And so
right.
like when I go to like one of these magic cons and I'm seeing people with families just hanging out and just the little
Mm-hmm.
kids and the dad and everybody just hanging out and the moms are there and they're all playing, everybody's having a good time. But then also like the fact that there's just like a million people of color all over the place who are just
Right.
there and they don't
Yeah,
care and they're just playing a
yeah,
game and it doesn't matter and we're just
yeah,
and I'm like, there were decades where this was not the case. And it's weird because Magic is an
yeah,
international game, but it was
yeah.
literally like white dudes from Europe and then like Japan.
Right.
And now it's like there's a whole panoply. And as somebody who has been there from the time when it wasn't, it makes a big difference to me. It's like, oh my God, this is wild. And it's so warming to me to just be like, look at this. Look at this. I fought for this, and we sort of won. You know,
We got we got there, and we're still going.
Yeah, like, well, it's like it's one of those phrases that I like to use, which is use a badly outdated language, but it gets a point across, which is like pioneers get the arrows so that settlers can get the land, right? Like somebody got to go up and just take the hits so that the kids behind them can have a path to walk through. And I'm like,
Yeah,
look,
no,
if
that
I
is a
took the
terrible
hit,
saying. Yeah, correct.
yeah, like
you are right. Yeah,
it is. I am working on finding a new one because the point that it makes is still important, though. Like somebody
You
had
are
to
correct.
go and blaze a trail, and someone's blazing a trail so that the other people can come in behind them and be able to,
Right.
say like, look, this is a land we could live in. And I'm like, I love that. I love that. I guess what I'm saying is like, it's nice to know that people followed. It's like,
Yeah.
look, all that stuff that we went through.
And here's our call to action
And
for
here it happened.
Thunder Junction. Cut that out.
Thunder Junction is. I have hopes for that because I know
I
people
have
who are there.
huge hopes for that. I'm if Lost Caverns is any indication,
Lost Caverns is like the apotheosis of what I wanted
of Kaladesh.
Yeah, it's exactly. Like, that's another thing. I'm like, look, I failed at Kaladesh so that you could have Lost Caverns. We'll take it.
Shivam, my first introduction to you was me working at the card store, watching the presentation for Kaladesh, and you going up to the podium and saying like, "Thank you guys for not like." Going for like the 4 arms and like elephants and angel route. And then they were like, yeah. And then like a week later, they showed like one of the 4 angels on Kaladesh and they have 4 arms. And I remember going to people in the card store just going like, they were sweating bullets. I bet there was someone in the back who was just like, rip that slide out. Rip out slide 5. Don't show it. Do not show this angel.
That was one of the best and worst weekends of my life.
Yeah.
It was like, I can tell you right now, first off, I went up there and I was like, what the hell did you guys like? I'm so stoked for this. I'm so excited. Where's my culture? And they're like, yeah, we didn't want to offend anybody. So we just took like some jewelry and stuff that we found and we built a set around. So you turned me into wallpaper? Is that what you're saying? And I was like so soul crushed that literally by the end of it, like I went and I saw Allison, who is Allison Lures, who used to be the old community manager and dear friend of mine. And I literally wept on her shoulder in the middle of the last day of PAX. I was just like, I wanted this so badly. And you guys stuck it in my stomach, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay. Yeah. If we ever go back to that set, I have hopes that they will call me because they know that if they don't, it's going to be a raucous one. Hopefully we can change that name too. You know what Kaladesh means?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it.
You've said it before.
Yeah,
Um,
Blackland. But black is in like the skin.
Oh, that's way worse.
Sure. Look, it means both black color, but in slang, when you it's not a nice word.
How did they?
How did they?
What was their origin?
Their
for the
origin
name?
story is that if you look at the fourth or fifth definition for kal, it means like engineering school or like school of art and industry.
Right.
But that's like the fourth or fifth. The first one is black. The second one is time. And I was like, and it's like if you put like kala or kala, it changes the meaning and stuff, but in English it washes out. So like me and every other Indian dude was like, they really call him Blackland? Like, even I get it. Chandra, the white savior here, is like, Chandra Onalar.
Yeah, the ginger white girl.
Her hair was supposed to be brown originally, dark brown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the first painting of her had her hair on fire because she's the fire mage.
Well, yeah,
and the second artist who saw it said, "Oh, her hair's on fire. It's red. Her hair must be red." And he painted her redhead, and they left it.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of like,
sounds all right.
Homie, we could have had years of not having issues. Anyways, the point though is like, you know what, man? Like, Magic has lots of ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a game that's 30 years old, but like, what other game one like has the guts to explore these types of cultures and worlds in the first place, especially with the mindset to not literally go into it by just like doing all the stereotypes, right? Like Yu-Gi-Oh isn't like, it's just like, like the entire Egyptian concept of it is just like, all right, what do people know from Egypt? Pyramids and like the icons, right? Perfect. Staple that on everything. They love sands. Put that everywhere. It's just like
mummies, like in occultism. Let's go.
Right. Like that's not like that. That's not a company who's doing even attempting to do what Magic attempts to do and succeeds, fails, whatever. But like Magic at the very least goes into it with like better than no intentions at all to bad intentions. Right.
The thing that gives me hope is like,
they learn.
Yeah, they learn. That's the thing. Right. They learn. Like when you look at, for instance, Khanta Tarkir just came back and they said, we're changing all of the Rakshas from being like cat demons to just being demons. And I was like, cool. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, It's been one of those things where I'd be bitching about over drinks with people. I'm like, man, can you believe D&D still just keeps some cats? Nobody cares. Right. It's fine. It's whatever. But it's just like, But they were like, hey, what if we didn't? What if we just fixed it? Yeah. And I was like, I was caught off guard and I was like, this is sweet. And I appreciate the gesture and thanks. It's nice. It's cool. It shows that they're willing to grow.
Right. And they stick it, and they're just like, also, hey, there's just none of these demons are used. They're all like all green. None of these demons are used in other demon decks, so like we're really not affecting anything,
right? Like that's the thing,
except for like this one niche case, and that one niche case is not worth righting a wrong. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, so like some cat decks lost, like the Rakshasa Debater or something like that. No, I'm sorry, I guess.
I'm sorry,
but like, also, hey, look, it's showing that without pressure, without like needing to be forced and like us needing to protest on the streets or whatever, they can just sit there and recognize, hey, we boffed something. It's a very simple change. Let's just change it. And now the art looks sick. The new art is completely amazing. The cards work just fine because like you're only ever going to play them in limited and they're great there. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever. I love it. I'm like, I love changes that like hurt nobody and help everybody, and just
exactly.
The only thing that this does is make folks smile a little more. And I'm like, that's all we want.
Yeah, for no real cost or not like a cost that's outweighed by the good it does.
Yeah,
and that's good to see.
Okay, so I missed the entire discussion I wanted to have with you, which is like, how did you become a content creator, and why are you doing this?
Yeah, so I started in I guess 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago. I only keep track by like my longest, my like earliest subscribers. They're still subscribed, and it's just like, oh, it's been 64 months. Dang, that's wild. Anyway, right? So yeah, I guess it's been like around that time. They're in the 60s, but yeah, I just started because working at a card store, my schedule was like 5 to 10. So like I always knew that I would be home at 11. So I would start stream at 11. I'd go late into the morning because I didn't have to sleep until, you have to wake up until 5. And I just did that. I was just playing video games, right? Like my friends were asleep, by that time because they were normal. and but I'm like, okay, I want to keep going. I need I want to talk to someone. So yeah, I kind of just like through multiple ways got into streaming. The origin story is truly that my favorite streamer, Saslin, they are they're female and they play a shooter game called Rainbow Six Siege. And the game is super heavy on communication. Like that's one of the special parts about it, that you literally like talk to your teammates to strategize like mid game. And it's very important to the game, and like and it's just one of the close parts. And like we already, from watching her, I saw that she as a woman just like struggled with being able to kind of have like a safe environment in the game. And then someone in her chat was just like, I'm a female too, and like I just don't even turn my microphone on because of like just what I the stuff I get. And something about that just ticked me off. And I'm like, hey, not to be weird or anything, but like, do you want to like just get together in games so like you can actually experience and take part in this, like the coolest part about this game, and not feel like you're going to be attacked over it? And then like that person designed my Discord, and then from then on I just started streaming. Like that is like the origin story of the Kurohitsuki account. And it's just just trying to I want people to be able to experience everything as easily as I do, just like in terms of playing video games, right? Like just
sure,
there's no reason you shouldn't be able to have access to this. And if I can be that that safe environment for you to enjoy that, then fine. And I have more friends to play with. Awesome. And then just from there, played Rainbow Six Siege. Arena came out, started playing like half and half Arena, and then I had way too many loss streaks in Arena because I'm bad apparently. I would go entire streams without winning a single game, and it's just like, oh my god, ugh. So then Spell Table kind of like came around, and I'm like, you know what? I have Commander decks. I freaking love Commander. Let me just start playing it online. And gosh, here we are, at least like a year or 2 years later, and it's been pretty good.
Yeah, because like I remember you got picked for the ambassador program, and I was like, who is this kid? And it turns out I really like what you do and what you represent. So I was like, wow, wherever Diana found you, it's like, she did a great job. I don't know. Like,
yes, she did.
You're like, if I do say so myself. Seriously though, like you bring a lot of joy and fun to the game, and I really appreciate it. I love watching your streams. I love watching you play Commander with other friends of mine. And I will say, your Aragorn deck can go to hell and die.
Yeah. See, I know this. You didn't say you didn't like playing Commander with me. Very interesting. That part was left out. That Aragorn deck is baller. I love it so much.
I'm just saying, you're a thief and a robber and should be hung. but
listen, you were the one. You were the one that mentioned it was an all melanated pod, and I said, what, that's pretty awesome. And then months later, I did the Representation Matters event because I saw the Aragorn card, and it made me cry. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was
let me
awesome.
put these two things together, and then boom, we did that.
It was super fun. I love it.
Yeah.
But then on friggin' Prof Stream, you just kind of like
Well,
wamble jambled
the
us.
good and the bad, okay? The good and the bad. You can have representation matters, and then I pop off, okay?
Dude, but that deck is so friggin' busted.
So
I'm so mad. Like, god damn it. That
I just get to be Monarch.
The fact that
Arwen.
the fact that you're like indestructible all the time is so
unblockable.
annoying. Unblockable.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the fact that you're unblockable and that deck, you had like a million soldiers. I'm not going to think about it. Y'all should
a million
watch
Gondorian soldiers and a million Gondorian full art
Lord of the Ring Island.
That is the funniest clip. That is the funniest clip. Still to this day. But my favorite part, I love the Lord of the Rings Island part, but like truly, it's Wheeler's like Cimmerillion forest, and then it's just like,
God, that was so much fun.
Pass
That
to the
was so good.
peasant. Pass to the peasant. It's just like you can't just say that.
These are my friends.
what was the weird land that Wheeler played? And I was just like, what did you call me?
God, dude, this game was such a dude.
It was, oh my god, it was so fun.
Anybody who gets blessed enough to go play on Shuffle Up and Play,
yes,
it is one of the greatest environments to play in, just because everybody's having a good time.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. It's like,
and it's all natural. Every single part of that game was it just happened. All the jokes, like no scripted, right? It was just, we were just riffing and just having a blast with each other. That was like, that's what every EDH game can be. And if I can be if I can help in any way, shape, or form to have the people around me experience games like that, where everyone is just having a good time playing Commander, then that's a job well done.
Amen.
That's why I do it. That's why I started doing it ever since the beginning. Now that I remember the origin story, yeah, like I was doing that from the beginning, still doing it now. I want people to have fun, especially when like they should be able to, and when the things that are getting in their way are pointless and stupid and dumb, all the more reason to fight against it.
Amen to that.
And that's what I'm here for.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, 41 Commander decks is too much though. I'm gonna just give you the CAG intervention here. You need to like.
But look at him! Look at the new Aragorn. He's so cool. I have 4 Aragorn decks. I can't stop.
4, homie. You need an intervention.
They printed 6. That's not my fault. They printed 6.
Oh my god! And they're all different, and they're all fundamentally different.
And they're all cool. My first Rule 0 deck ever, because like I'm too much of a Vorthos to do Rule 0s on like anything. But when it's like Aragorn and Arwen together, I can't. I can't say no, and so I made Aragorn.
God damn it. Okay, my dude. If people wanted to thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's like a lovely conversation. I really do enjoy you.
Thank you so much.
So, if people want to find you and your stuff, where do they go?
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Kurohitsuki. That is where I am streaming way too many times a week. You can also certainly catch my off the cuff ramblings on Twitter, as long as that exists. But Instagram, TikTok, just trying to branch into more places. But yeah, Twitch is where you'll always be able to find me. And yeah, let's play a game sometime. Come through and see what the Commander vibes are. They're typically pretty immaculate.
Commander.
Yeah, especially when Aragorn's on the field, it's always a good time.
Rage table flipping. Man, your decks are definitely like need a conversation before we sit down and play, because
they're on point. They're flavorful.
They are.
All
and they
Monarch
also
all the time.
God, they beat the crap out of me every time, and it makes me so mad.
But how does it taste though? It tastes really good. It tastes on point.
Oh man, remember what we were in Portland, and you, me, and George were sitting in Cafe Mox and playing a game with his weirdo deck.
Oh my god, yeah. What
Right
was
when you had
that?
first seen my quiver, even we were sitting there, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
had
yeah.
like the deck, which is like, yeah, I beat you with all my cards like numbered 1 through 4 or something. I don't know, it's some weird. I should ask him about the deck. It was super
Yeah,
bizarre.
yeah,
It was so funny. That's a
yeah,
story I'm going to need to. I should just have him on the show. He's a cool kid.
yeah.
Anyways, guys, as always, you can find me at Gear Reporting Gears. You can find the show anywhere podcasts are sold, or at Cool Stuff Inc. on Tuesdays, or at YouTube on Tuesdays, thanks to my new editor, Daniel May. And you can also find me on Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic, or you can find me on the Chronicles of Dragonlance podcast, because I have too much time on my hands. You can also support me at Patreon, patreon.com/ShivanB. And remember, my friends, it is not magic without the gathering, and we will see you next time.